ResortLoop.com is proud to be sponsored by Joffrey's Coffee and Tea Company. Joffrey's now offers coffee subscriptions. You can order a 3, 6, or 12-month subscription. You can choose from 3 collections: the Flavored Coffee Collection, the Roastmasters Collection, or the Disney Signature Coffee Collection. Each collection includes 3 bags per month. With the Joffrey's Coffee subscriptions, never run out of great coffee again. Learn more and order at Joffreys.com.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
The body of water that you see to the right of our forward motion is the Seven Seas Lagoon. The Seven Seas Lagoon is a man-made creation that took 3 years and the removal of millions of cubic yards of earth to complete.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. I'm Tim Scott. This is ResortLoop.com, the gateway to the magic. Hope everybody's having a happy new year. Hope everybody enjoyed Holidaython. I figured let's start off 2021 on the right foot. We're going to get a trip report from our good friend Brian, who's been on the show before. And Brian, thanks for joining us once again.
Hey, good to be on the show, Tim.
Awesome. So you took a trip recently. I just wanted to hear a little trip report about where you went, what you did, how it went.
Yeah, sure. No, it was a great trip. So we, my family and I, we live in Virginia, and we have a place that we used on a little island called Anna Maria Island off the coast of Sarasota.
Ooh.
We went down there for the week after Christmas, but we decided to drive this time, just given the current travel situation with the pandemic. And so we surprised the kids. We're DVC members, and we went through Orlando on the way down. And to their surprise, we ended up at the Beach Club on a Sunday night. Yeah,
look at you.
Pretty. Yeah, no, it was a good dad moment, and the kids had never been there, nor had we. Our home base is Copper Creek, and we've stayed there a couple times, and we've also stayed at Grand Floridian and a couple other places. So, it was interesting. The place was immaculate, and the cast members were incredible, but it was eerily quiet. And this would have been on December 27th, right? So we're at the peak of what it should be like at Walt Disney World in terms of crowds. And I'll tell you what was great though, and you can ask questions about it too, is the pool was absolutely empty. So our kids enjoyed the pool and the water slide for almost a couple hours.
Oh, wow.
It was really, that was nice. We had never been in that pool.
Really?
Seen that pool. Yeah, but it is pretty incredible how big it is. And to kind of have that literally 100% to yourself was very interesting.
What was the temperature when you were there?
Let's see. It was the cold spell still hadn't quite snapped from Florida. It snapped on Monday. But I'd say it was in the low 60s when the kids were swimming. So It wasn't bad. It's all heated. It wasn't too bad.
I was going to say, but the water was comfortable?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Nice. Good to know.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we, from there, we ended up having a dinner over at Trattoria Al Fornico. Is that the name of it? On the boardwalk?
Yeah. Al Forno. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Al Forno. Yeah. We had a late night dinner there around 9:00. And that was a great experience. They've pared down the number of tables and pared down the menu a little bit, but just an incredible experience. The food tasted like it always does. We've eaten there several times. The staff was incredible. I mean, it's absolutely remarkable what they're doing to, continue to provide what magic they can under the current circumstances. So that was our Sunday.
Okay. In the restaurant, did they hang up any kind of like plexiglass dividers, or you just spaced out far enough?
Yeah, they did.
Did they?
Yeah. So the tables that were in the open area were spaced out, and some said, you can't sit here, and they would kind of swap the tables in and out. And then between the booths, I don't know if you've ever been in there, there's some horseshoe space booths. There were plexiglass separators up top as well. And all the staff wore masks, and some wore masks and a plexiglass shield.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it was felt very comfortable.
Oh, that's good to know.
And yeah, no, it was great, and the food was great. And then on Monday, so that the plan was to head back to the beach sometime on Monday. But on Monday, we ended up walking over and spending some time in Epcot. And I'll sort of preface this with we had 2 unique experiences. So on the front end of the trip was the Beach Club in Epcot, and on the back end of the trip was Kidani and Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Oh, nice.
Both experiences were very, very different. Epcot they're doing their absolute best. Kudos to them, and I really credit them for all the effort. But I think I heard one of your colleagues the other night on your early January show say, Epcot without all the experience is more like a shell, and that's a really good way to describe Epcot today. And we lasted about 2.5 hours in Epcot. My family typically, we like to have a fast pass. We spread them out throughout the day. We spend times in the countries. We interact with the cast members that are on visas. We have to get a cocktail here or there, set up our meals. And it's like just an all day experience where we're just constantly moving around and having a blast. And by no means is that possible right now, the way, the place is set up.
Right.
The rides, really long waits. We very rarely will wait more than an hour for a ride. 2.5 hours for Test Track, about an hour and a half for Soarin'. We ended up walking on Nemo, so that was a lot of fun. But it just, they're trying, but these lines stretch so long. And, my wife and I were talking, and we're trying to understand why they don't have some sort of fast pass or queue system, because these lines get so massive and the people, it's not that they're stacked on top of each other, but it just didn't really make sense the way that was set up. We walked through all the countries. Some of the stores were open. A lot of the stores had sort of limited supplies of things. Had a nice dinner or a nice lunch at what used to be called, it's right there in Morocco, the place on the water. What is that restaurant?
Oh, I'm blanking now too. Let's see.
Yeah. Anyway, it was owned by a different restaurant group. Now Disney owns that, and they actually turned it into a really great Middle Eastern tapas restaurant. So we actually really enjoyed our meal.
Oh, very nice.
On the water. Yeah, really excellent food. The food in Epcot's always really good.
Yeah. Spice Road Table.
And Spice Road Table on it. Yeah, it's still Spice Road Table. It's under new ownership. It's actually owned by Disney as opposed to a third party. But again, one of the things that was missing in all the countries were the cast members that are actually from those countries. I think it's just because a lot of travel shut down right now and visas are shut down and so forth. But kudos to what they're trying to do. I don't think we would go back to Epcot until things change. And I don't know when that's going to happen. But we had a very different experience in Animal Kingdom, and I can tell you about how that went, unless you have some questions.
Absolutely. I'm just going to ask, how did you enjoy the quick walk from the Beach Club Villas into Epcot?
I love it. Yeah, no, it's great. It's so awesome. And, watching the Skyliner go over you. And, again, though, what was kind of eerie, and I'm a very optimistic guy, just so you know, by nature, so I'm not trying to be pessimistic here, but just how busy the day that normally would be and just how empty the boardwalk was, but it is a great walk in there, and they have it all set up. It's seamless. You get in line, everybody's distance, they take your temperature, you walk through security, very limited security check. I think they're just looking for big metal objects. And then from there on out, you're on a magic band and you're just kind of cruising through the park. We did get in and hit the patisserie in Paris for breakfast. We're sort of the first and only ones to be walking in when it opened up.
Oh, wow.
We had a great breakfast, great cup of coffee. And then we started to work our way around. Yeah.
And what was your thoughts on the Harmonious barge that's out there in the middle of the water?
It's big. It's incredible, actually. I can't even imagine what it's going to look like when they, I look forward to seeing that show for the very first time.
It looks like there's some...
Yeah, it's a very technical undertaking sitting out there on the water.
I was going to say, it seemed like a very well-engineered piece of equipment they put out there.
Yeah, it's very impressive. And then the Guardians of the Galaxy looked like it was really coming along. We walked by that and a few other places. It's also, it's an understatement to say how torn up the Future or Tomorrowland or whatever it's called, the front of the park is.
Mm-hmm. Future World, yes.
Future World's basically gutted. So, that coupled to we weren't going to wait in line was sort of a limited experience in Future World, but it was still good to get out and walk around because it had been almost a year since we'd been there because of the pandemic.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay, so you wrapped up your time at the Beach Club. And you changed resorts. Tell us where you went.
Yeah, well, we spent the week on the beach, and then coming back, we surprised the kids again.
Look at you.
On a Saturday. Yeah, no, we drove, and this was an incredible experience. So we had never stayed at Animal Kingdom Lodge. We ended up staying at Kidani. We had Jambo. We switched over to Kidani because Sanaa was open, right?
Okay, yeah.
So, whereas there's really nothing open, from my understanding, in Jambo House in terms of eating right now. So we had a great savannah view. The kids were like blown away. We got it at a decent time, spent a long part of the day at the pool, got cleaned up, had a great dinner at Sanaa. It just was such a wonderful experience. We were actually there for a little over 2 hours. The rooms at Animal Kingdom are huge relative to some of the other DVC. I don't know if you've ever stayed in any of the DVC rooms at Animal Kingdom, but it's amazing how big they are. We had a 2-bedroom, which actually has 3 full bathrooms, which
wow,
really blew me away. That there's most of them just have 2 full bathrooms. In the bedrooms themselves, there's also a full bathroom in the living room area. So, just an incredible experience seeing the animals, and then we spent, prior to really checking in at Kidani, we spent the entire day at Animal Kingdom, and it was an absolute blast. And I think the difference between Animal Kingdom right now and Epcot is that there's experiences at Animal Kingdom that you can do that just haven't been shut down by the pandemic. They still have to take care of the animals. The little, Gorilla Falls needs to be open. The Tiger Walk area in Asia still needs to be open. And we were literally on a Saturday walking on to rides. So, the posted wait time for Everest was 35 minutes. I think it took us 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Constantly moving. It was actually the first time we'd ever walked through the entire queue, because we usually fast pass that. And that was a cool experience for the kids. They really like seeing a lot of that.
Right.
And then we walked on the safari, and we walked on Kali River Rapids. A little bit different for the rides in Avatar. They were posting 2 hours plus, so we just we avoided those. But we walked through Avatar. Wasn't very crowded. It seems like the majority of the people were actually in lines as opposed to kind of walking around. But it was just a very different experience. We had a great lunch at the Yak and Yeti. It's one of our favorites. We've got a Landry's card. I don't know if you're aware of that mechanism, but a Landry's card is a one-time fee of $25, and it automatically gets credited back to your account when you want to use it for food. So that card gets you about a 5 to 10 minute wait at the Yak and Yeti. So with that card, even though the wait was an hour plus, we were able to just walk right into the Yak and Yeti and have a really nice lunch. Yeah.
That's a great tip.
Oh, yeah. And it also works at T-Rex, and it works at the Rainforest. So as well as like Morton's and some of the other restaurants they own. So for your listeners out there, getting a Landry's card for $25 and then you get like $10 for your birthday, and they keep giving you bonus points. It's a no-brainer to do.
Absolutely. Do you have locations near you, or you go to Disney a lot?
No, we don't have any. I actually bought it when we were at, they were sort of pushing the promotion at the Yak and Yeti about 3 years ago. And I'm always sort of dubious of these promotions, but once they said, well, look, the best thing about this is that you're not going to have to wait in line, and you don't need to have a reservation. And I didn't believe them. Right. But they're spot on.
You're like, hey, $25, I'll take that gamble.
Oh, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
So yeah, no, but that was our trip. 2 very different experiences. For your listeners out there, I think going to Animal Kingdom during a pandemic is a great idea. I mean, it's not completely the same because they don't have the live shows, but other than that, nothing's really changed at Animal Kingdom. There's all the interaction with animals. The Wilderness Explorers is still active. A lot of the shops are open. Great food. It was a really awesome experience for us. Awesome. And if I were going to stay at a resort, I've always heard staycations are great at the Animal Kingdom Lodge, and I see why. But if your plan is just to go to the Animal Kingdom, staying at the Animal Kingdom Lodge is great. And they're offering free parking now if you stay at any of the resorts. So you don't necessarily have to jump on a bus. You can stay at the lodge. You don't have to be a DVC member. You just have to be a guest. And then you can, instead of riding a bus, which we're trying to avoid, I think a lot of people are trying to avoid the bus system, because you're staying at one of the resorts, you can park free at any of the parks. And that was really nice.
Oh, wow. Is that a DVC thing, the free parking?
No, it's anybody that's staying at any of the Disney resorts, whether
Nice.
you're DVC or not. Yeah.
That's the first time I've heard that they're waiving the parking fees.
They're waiving the parking
The angels
fees.
are singing.
Yeah, I think they're just doing everything they can to make it flexible,
Well, they need to get that out there a little bit more then.
Yeah, no, you might want to fact check that, but
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's what she was telling us, yeah.
All right. What time did the Animal Kingdom close when you were there?
The Animal Kingdom closed at, I believe, 6. We rolled out of there around 4. We'd spent a good 5 hours at the park, and the kids really wanted to hit the pool and spend the rest of the afternoon in the pool.
I was going to say, because you were talking about having a nice 2-hour dinner at Sanaa.
Yeah. So we were at the pool from about 4:30 to maybe 6:30, 7, and then we had an 8 o'clock dinner reservation at Sanaa.
I love that. If it's a dinner you enjoy, because a lot of times, on these Disney trips, you're spending so much time getting from here to there to other attractions that you don't really take time usually for a nice, relaxing, dinner.
Yeah, we really make a point of that every day when we're there at Disney. We're big fans of the Park Hopper, which is back on now, which is good. But we will typically end up for a nice meal at Epcot every night, or the resort we're at. Yeah, one of those two options, or Tiffin's at Animal Kingdom is always also a good option too. So, but it's just a nice way to end the day. And if a park's open late, you can kind of fuel up and then get back into the park.
Oh, I need to travel with you, Brian. I love that idea.
Food.
Exactly. What kind of room did you have at the Beach Club DVC? Was that a 2-bedroom also?
We had a 2-bedroom at the Beach Club. We didn't quite have a view like we had at the Animal Kingdom. It's hard to beat that view of Savannah, right?
Right, exactly.
And the room was not. I mean, both rooms that we stayed in were absolutely immaculate. There's a survey you take afterwards, and they really in the survey hit on very specific things about the room. And was the remote controller covered with plastic? And I mean, it smells clean. It's not that it doesn't in the past, but you can definitely tell they've taken it to a new level to sort of sterilize the rooms. The room at Beach Club was nice. I thought the room at the DVC was better simply because it was bigger. It didn't feel sort of as claustrophobic, but it was a great room.
Awesome. So if you went back, you would pick the Animal Kingdom Lodge over the Beach Club?
It depends.
You got that pool, though. The pool's a kind of
there's the pool, and then, if I went back in a pandemic, I'd probably stay at Animal Kingdom. If I went back under normal terms, we'd probably stay at the Beach Club because you can walk into Epcot, and we just love Epcot. And you can catch the Skyliner or a boat over to Hollywood Studios. There's just, you have so much access to the boardwalk in that area when you stay in that area,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I think like right now, if I were going back, the only place I'd probably stay is Animal Kingdom. It's a great setup.
Oh, fantastic! I love all the bustle and all that stuff in the Beach Club area there around the Crescent Lake, like you were talking about. But there's something to be said for getting away, at the Animal Kingdom too. You kind of get separation. It seems like a slower pace.
Yeah, it's definitely more laid back, and you don't even feel like you're at a Walt Disney World or any amusement park for that matter. I mean, they really create this sort of out of country experience, this African experience. It's just incredible.
Wow. When you left, the kids were like, well, where are we stopping now? Because we're not going home right now.
Yeah, no, we drove 14 hours up Highway 95. It was not the best ending to it.
Straight, you drove
everything.
You drove straight through home?
We drove straight through home, yeah. So
how was 95? Because I know normally whenever I'm driving back, there's always some stop and go. But is it there's still stop and go right now, or is it pretty much?
Yeah, it was a nightmare. On the Saturday we drove down was just, I mean, which is why we broke the trip up. We kind of knew that was going to happen. Going back wasn't too bad. Waze didn't divert us off the highway at all. We had a couple 5-10 minute waits for traffic or whatever, but nothing. It wasn't too crazy. Going down. I've only driven down there twice. We get down there 3 or 4 times a year. The first time I drove down on Good Friday down Highway 95, and And I will never do that again. That almost took 20 hours. That was incredible. It was incredible. Yeah.
Why aren't we moving highway speed? You want to just scream at people?
Oh my goodness. Unbelievable. Yeah, it really was. Yeah. No, but all in all, a good experience. We had a trip coming up in February that we decided to cancel based on this trip. We were going to be staying at Copper Creek. And the reason we canceled is I sort of suspect that Hollywood Studios and Magic Kingdom and Epcot are just very similar in terms of it's just really about the rides and there's not much really going on. Mm-hmm. And so I think Animal Kingdom would be a great option. So we just decided to just pause and then we'll see how things go in terms of if they get a queue system going on. I think for my family, we're so used to fast passes. And I know a lot of people don't like having to do all that preparation. And there's a lot of folks out there that are against the fast pass system, but the idea that I know we can walk on 3 rides in the 4th in one day just makes our planning and just stress easier. So until they get a queue system going or a fast pass system, I think it'll be a while until we get back into the parks. But we'll see.
Well, that's the thing anybody can do right now. Just go with your comfort level when you're there. Adjust. If you don't feel you're not comfortable there, don't go or go somewhere else.
No, exactly. I agree.
Do you have any tips for anybody that's thinking of going down now? Maybe they're going to follow your advice and they're going to go down, go to the Animal Kingdom for a couple days.
Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong at the Animal Kingdom. It depends on what your expectations are of Epcot. We really do like to submerge ourselves into the different country cultures and the food, and that's really hard to do right now, if not impossible in some countries. So, like I said, one of your colleagues described Epcot as just this shell right now, mm-hmm. and that's really all it is. But I think right now, if you can get access to any of the vacation clubs, man, now is the time to do it because they're incredible. The pools are virtually empty. The staff are great. The restaurants are open. You really don't even need a reservation for some of the restaurants. We had reservations, but we saw people just walking up and getting sat. So, I think you just need to sort of maybe lean on the resorts a little more than the parks. I'd be curious to just walk through Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios and see what those experiences are like. But I haven't heard much, although I haven't really looked either.
Gotcha. Before we wrap it up here, I just want to remind everybody that you're actually in the biotech field.
I am.
And last time you were on, we talked a little bit about the vaccines. And since we talked last, the vaccine is actually out now.
Right. No, it's great. My wife has been vaccinated. She's a frontline clinician. She actually gets her second dose on Saturday. It's going really smoothly. Got some other colleagues and friends that have been vaccinated. I don't think it's being rolled out as fast as we all had hoped. Mm-hmm. So I hope they can fix that component of it. But I think soon, as we start to vaccinate, the at-risk and then work into folks like myself, travel and all the other things that we'd like to do are going to open up in a great way. I think places like Disney are just waiting for this,
right.
And I don't think it means it's going to be the end of masks and temperature checking and all of that in 2021. But I do think it's going to allow these places to, loosen things up and introduce maybe shows and other things into the normal mm-hmm. routine there.
Increase capacity a little bit.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. I do.
Can I ask, do you know of anybody that's taken it, has any kind of, side effect at all?
I know a lot of people that have taken it, and other than a sore arm, like when you get your flu shot, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. Nothing.
Really?
It's been, I haven't heard of not even flu-like symptoms, which is pretty common with the flu vaccine. It's not to say that that's not happening. I think there's a lot of reports. The last report I read today is that there were, out of the 4.5 million have been given, I think, there's been 21 severe adverse reactions, which is almost in line of the number of severe adverse reactions you get per million for the flu vaccine.
Okay.
So, basically extremely safe. It's like every 10 in a million people that get the vaccine may have an anaphylactic reaction, but no one's died from it either. And, like I said, you may not realize this, but when you get your flu vaccine, one of the things they're looking at immediately after that vaccine as if you're having a reaction to it, and you probably don't even realize it. So
Yeah, I have heard that if you've had reactions to other vaccines, they'd prefer you get yours in like a more medical type facility, just so they keep an eye
exactly.
on it.
Yep. But hopefully everybody jumps on board and starts taking this. It's important.
Exactly. I know there's like right now there's like 3 different ones out there. The mainly that I've heard about. Is there like any advantage to one over the other? They all do the same thing. I know they took different approaches.
There's 2 that are available to the American public. One from Pfizer and one from Moderna.
Mm-hmm.
They're the same technology, not identical, but have about the same efficacy, 90 to 95%. And that's what the majority of Americans are going to get out of the gate. The third one is the AstraZeneca vaccine, which I don't believe is being used in the U.S. It may be, but it's not as effective as the Moderna and Pfizer vaccine.
Okay.
Yep.
Excellent. Do they both require a backup or booster shots after the first one?
Yeah.
Okay.
They just like when we were kids, you'd go get your MMR and then you'd go and get your booster.
Right.
Yeah. So I think it's don't quote me. One's 21 days, one's 28 days later. My wife is on the 21-day plan, so
gotcha.
She gets her 21 days will be Saturday. Yep.
Awesome. Well, Brian, thanks so much for sharing all that information with us, the trip and the vaccine.
Yeah, that was awesome to talk to you. I was thinking about you guys when we were down there. It was a great perspective, great trip, and it felt good, Tim. To be honest, even Epcot felt good. I know we were only there for 2.5 hours. We had some tickets that we had to burn anyway from spring break, so we were going to go no matter what. But the place is still magical, and you just have to have your expectations aligned.
Right. Oh, that's a good tip. Good tip for everybody that's considering going.
Yep. Good.
Well, Brian, thank you very much. If anybody has any kind of vaccine questions or anything, get them to me and I'll get them to Brian, and maybe we could do another show about that down the road. How's that sound?
Absolutely. Feel free to reach out to me. Love to follow up with you.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. I'm Tim Scott. Facebook, Twitter, the website, ResortLoop.com. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel. There might be some things going up there soon. Maybe. We'll see how things go. Everybody, you've been listening to The Gateway to the Magic. Do you want to take us out, Brian?
See you, everybody.
Vacation memories will stay with you and your family for a lifetime. The Resort Loop Travel Group was created with this in mind. Our fee-free services will relieve you of the stress and confusion of finding and booking the best vacation at the best price. After booking, we will continue to monitor for ways to save you even more on your vacation. We will check for any upcoming packages and discounts to save you as many vacation dollars as possible. Resort Loop Travel Group, gateway to your magical vacation memories. Get a quote, or for more information, visit ResortLoopTravelGroup.com.